From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, houses at Trademore Estate in Abuja pulled down over flood concerns. Resumption of Abuja-Kaduna train service suspended indefinitely. Sokoto State Governor lifts curfew, bans procession. And on the foreign scene, parents, child drown after wave hits coast in France. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Deron Onifade. Demolition of buildings at Trademore Estate in Lugbe, a satellite town in Abuja Municipal Area Council, began on Thursday. Officials of Development Control Department of the Federal Capital Territory Administration and a joint task force comprising the police and state security services are taking part in the exercise to remove structures said to have been built on floodplains. Trust TV's Aisha Saliu reports.
In recent times, residents of Trademore Estate in Lugbe area, a suburb within the Federal Capital Territory, have experienced flooding, which has led to loss of lives and property. As you can see behind me, that building there is on the wreck. In reaction to this, Federal Capital Development Control have marked over 90 houses for demolition. And this demolition exercise was scheduled to take place 48 hours after the mark of these particular structures. But now, residents of this estate are appealing through a protest carried out on Tuesday, 17th of May 2022, asking Development Control to look at other alternatives apart from demolition. The appeal by the members of the Association of Trademore Residents Management to repeal demolition option after a 48 hours prior notice by the Federal Capital Development Authority is not approved, as dozens of houses were demolished last Thursday. A move that has now rendered many traumatized and homeless.
It has been done already, and we don't know whether they're still coming back. It's sad. If you see the way houses were being demolished, imagine parents who have gone to work just to come back and notice that they don't longer have a roof over them. Or children that went to school and see that they are now rendered homeless.
Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister, Iharo Atta, maintained that demolition was the only solution to save lives and property, as the estate developer had no building plan approval before constructing the illegal structures on a flood-prone area. However, some official members of the estate do not agree with the demolition as a solution to the flood situation.
I will give them notices. This house, this you see here, we are marked 3 years ago. 3 years ago. They were even marked from their foundation level. Some over 10 years ago, marked 3 years ago. And when we get to the final stage, we give them 48 hours notice. So we're giving them sufficient notice. Even from their foundation, they were marked because there was no building plan approval for these houses here that were built on a floodplain. This is like a dead zone. People die here in flooding.
We can also, work with them in such a way that we, have a fair playing ground. But people discretionally coming into the estate and marking 100 houses for demolition.
The main challenge that we have in Trademore is not in Trademore. It's the water coming into Trademore. Why not find a way of rechanneling the water so that the volume of water coming to Trademore will now be less?
The Federal Capital Territory Development Control says flooding at the estate has become a perennial issue due to buildings of houses on waterways. Non-compliance with safety instructions and early warnings will only worsen matters. Other residents now live in fear, wondering which of the marked buildings will be up for demolition. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Thank you, Aisha. We now have in the studio the Senior Special Assistant to the Minister of FCT on Monitoring, Inspection and Enforcement, Iharo Atta. Thank you for joining us on News Hour, Iharo.
A wonderful time being with Trust TV.
Now, why have we having demolitions in estates which were developed by developers who have been working with the administration?
I think one fundamental thing we have been able to see going forward is that some of the mass housing developers actually contravened. That's why we're having demolition in most of these estates around, particularly the ones in Phase 5. Currently, at the moment, the FCT administration is working towards tackling flooding. And some of the key areas where we see this flooding in very worrisome proportions are around estates where people build on floodplains and water corridors. Part of the Lokogoma area, like FAB, IPEN 5, as well as the one recently we went to, that is the one at the Trademore Estate, just after the Voice of Nigeria along the Kubwa Expressway.
Now, look, how worried should people be? I mean, you are working with developers. You know that developers have, approval. How worried should people be now, those who have subscribed to some of these projects?
No, you shouldn't be worried. The fundamental fact is that what we are saying and what we are pushing is that Abuja is a city planned by law. At a certain point, the founding fathers of this city discovered that Lagos was already getting overstretched. And they came, they planned the city, and the city is governed by a master plan. Now, when those estate developers got their allocation, it was clearly stated that they should report to Development Control Department, where the town planners will look at the entirety of the allocation and approve for them where to build, where will be green, and the area that will be waterway. As I speak to you now, I'll say it for free here, that the properties demolished or the properties cleared or removed, if we are to use some very friendly diction going forward here, those properties do not have building plan approval. That's the fundamental fact here. So when you are working with a developer, find time to consult and verify with Aegis, the Abuja Geographic Information System, because it's clear here that the buildings we are touching, the developers had come to say clearly that yes, we don't have building plan approval. Why then do you build or get off-takers to go and put their money where you know for sure that they won't get result? So they shouldn't be scared. If you're generally building, carry out your search very well and ensure that you don't build on floodplains, road corridors, or even on floodplains, river corridor, and even on road corridors. Because some of them in Lokogoma, now we're talking about flood, when we go to a point where we look at the road corridors, somebody will see a large expanse of road, sell the entire stretch, and tell us to divert road. We won't divert road because it's from the plan that ought to be road. When you sell the road, deceive people to go and buy the road and build on it heavily, when we come, we'll remove them.
Now, even if this is justified, wouldn't it have been better to stop the construction when it was still, at the early stage, rather than demolish after a lot of money has been sunk into the project?
Thank you very much. That's a nice question from Trust TV. Now, as a journalist turned enforcer, on the other part, before my destiny tends to be changing into enforcement, I had always asked that question. But when I now approach development control, at every contravention the minister of the FCT asked me to remove, I asked them to give me the file of the contraventions. Most of these buildings were marked from foundation level. As you lay foundation, they mark stop work. The man may believe at that time he knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And when you get to lintel, they mark. When you get to roofing level, they mark. When you finish, they mark. And all of these are piled up. When you feel you are home and dry, a government will come that will say, okay, let's check the files. We check the files, we see the contravention, all the marking, even the one in Lokogoma, in Trademore, they said we gave them 48-hour notice. On some of the buildings, we are 3 years markings. 3 years. The mark last 3 years, mark last year, mark early this year, and now mark 48 hours before we moved in, about 3 or 4 days before. So once you start that, maybe lack of machine, enough machine to run around the city, maybe lack of whatever, maybe even compromise on the part of our own staff, whatever it is. At the end of the day, a time will come when the chicken will come home to roast. Because when such illegalities are allowed to stand, Abuja will just be a time bomb waiting to explode.
Okay, thank you very much for speaking with us. Ikaru Atta is the senior special assistant to the Minister of the FCT on monitoring, inspection, and enforcement.
A wonderful time being with Trust TV, and I'm happy being here.
Now, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, may have bowed to pressure from family members of victims of the March 28 attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train, as the corporation has shifted the resumption of the service. The NRC had earlier fixed Monday, May 23 for the resumption of the train service, but the relatives of the victims opposed the move, saying it was insensitive to resume operation on the route when their loved ones are still languishing in captivity. Apparently bowing to their demand, the NRC postponed the resumption indefinitely as no new date was announced. Spokesman of the NRC, Mahmoud Yakub, in a statement on Friday, said a new date would be announced soon. In the statement, the NRC apologized for the delay in the resumption of the service, even as it assured the families of the kidnapped victims that it was working very hard to safely rescue the kidnapped victims. Senate President and All Progressives Congress presidential aspirant Ahmed Lawan is in Katsina State to seek delegate support to emerge the party's flag bearer. Addressing the delegates, Lawan said he will do anything possible to bring an end to insecurity affecting the Northwest region. He said that the region has agricultural potential to feed the nation if properly harnessed. Jamil Mumbai has the details.
An event full of praises and appreciation when President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, an All Progressives Congress presidential aspirant, met delegates at the Muhammadu Buhari House in Katsina. The Senate President told delegates that the Senate will ensure that the nation's security agencies account for the resources given to them to tackle security challenges besetting the country.
Unfortunately, we have some issues, security issues, especially in the Northwest and some parts of the country. Like we dealt with Boko Haram, by the grace of God, we'll finish banditry in northwestern part of Nigeria.
He described the security situation in the Northwest as worrisome despite efforts by the government to end the scenario.
We have done a lot in terms of providing resources for our security agencies to fight banditry and other insecurity issues. But we have not achieved the kind of results that we need or we want to achieve. We are not tired. We will never be tired. We will continue to fight. We will continue to provide more resources. We will continue to hold our security agencies responsible for resources we give them. For as long as the insecurity persists, we must never waver. We must never show any sign of weakness or tiredness.
Boasting about his leadership capacity, he said that his 23 years at the National Assembly, beginning from the House of Representatives, has equipped him with the requisite experience and the capacity to pilot the affairs of the country as president.
Your Excellency, distinguished delegates, I have served now for almost 3 years, and by the 11th of June next month, I will be exactly 3 years as President of the Senate. We are 109 in the Senate. And we belong to 3 different political parties, the APC in majority, the PDP minority, and YPP also a minority with 1 member. But we have been able to bring everybody together. In the Senate, we are distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Our focus, our purpose is Nigeria, Nigeria, and the people of Nigeria. And that is what we want to achieve when we get to Villa by the grace of God.
He urged the delegates and other APC members in Katsina to support his presidential aspiration.
It's very difficult, if not impossible for me.
Governor Aminu Masari described Lawan as honest and dependable politician who, if given the opportunity, will not disappoint. Jamil Mumbai, Trust TV, Katsina.
Still on politics, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has met delegates in Gombe ahead of the party's primaries. Speaking to PDP delegates at the party's secretariat in Gombe, Atiku said he is concerned about the progress of Gombe State. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
This is the moment PDP delegates receive former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as part of his consultations ahead of the primary elections. Atiku said Gombe is his home.
Ina son dauki wannan dama gode wa jama'an Gombe da zaben da aka yi mana a Port Harcourt 2018.
I want to use this opportunity to thank the people of Gombe for their support in the 2018 primaries in Port Harcourt and the 2019 elections. It is true that since the era of Tafawa Balewa, the Northeast never produced a president.
Northeast tun zamanin Tafawa Balewa marigayi Allah ya gafarta mishi ba mu yi wani ɗan ta ko ba mu yi shugaban ƙasa ko kuma shugaban gwamnati.
The position is rotational. We think this is the turn of the Northeast, and this election belongs to the people of Gombe. I have done everything to support Gombe more than Adamawa State. Gombe State PDP chairman assured that they will work for the success of the party.
Your Excellency, I asked you in my office, and I said, what is Nigeria's problem? Why is APC under the leadership of a general behaving this way? That's not the quality of a general. And you give me an answer. I'm sure by 2023, I will ask you the same question and the answer will be clearly rated that you have taken over, you are going to change things for the better.
Earlier in the week, Governor Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom State, Bala Muhammad of Bauchi, Waziri Tambol of Sokoto, and former President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, were in the state to solicit support of the delegates from Gombe. Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
More on politics. Governor of Sokoto State, Tambuwal, said the need to restructure and decentralize power at all levels of the federation cannot be overemphasized. The governor stated this when he met with PDP delegates in Asaba ahead of the party's congress. Also speaking, the governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, said it's time for the PDP to regain power and correct various issues in the country. The governor of Sokoto State, while addressing newsmen, condemned the attack that led to the death of a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education in Sokoto and debunked reports that security operatives did nothing to save the student from the mob.
It is high time that we sit down and engage and discuss restructuring and how best it can be achieved for efficient management and governance of Nigeria so that Nigeria can work for all of us. I also believe in devolution of power and devolving not only more powers, but also giving more resources to the states and local governments. I believe for us to achieve lasting peace and arrest the degenerating insecurity situation in the country, we must go to the issue of state police.
There is no doubt that we cannot continue to allow the current APC government to govern this nation, because the people of Nigeria are definitely not satisfied with what has happened. A lot of things have gone wrong. We have loads of challenges as a nation, and collectively as a party, we must rise up to protect our country. We must rise up to protect the future of our people.
As we speak, one of the DSS agents that really attempted to save her life is in hospital because he had a broken head, and the other one had a broken hand. So they were actually overpowered. So it's not as if she was left on her own, but there was rescue by the DSS, and they were in around where she was locked into a room because they tried to really save her. But unfortunately, they were overpowered. So it's not that the security agencies didn't respond. Maybe they didn't respond adequately, but there was a response. You don't take laws into your own hands. So I believe Sokoto is safe for every citizen of this country and every human being.
Former senator representing Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani, says he joined the governorship race to bring change to a badly governed Kaduna state. Fatima Saleh Ladan has more.
Shehu Sani said it is alarming how people of the state are today at the mercy of bandits who now decide who dies and who lives. The senator said he will never stay silent on issues bedeviling the state, nor will be a stooge to anyone.
Our people in Kaduna State today are at the mercy of bandits, not just people living in rural areas, but people living in the outskirts of Kaduna. What is the use of you being in government? If bandits and terrorists dictate who survives and who dies in your state, what is the essence of you being there?
He said even though all the aspirants are qualified, his political doctrine and ideology make him stand out.
That my politics reflects my ideology and my also principle. I will warn on delegates to avoid being swabbed and being deceived by words of cash that is going to be shared by people whom you will never see after elections.
Senator Shehu Sani is among the 7 aspirants under the platform of the People's Democratic Party seeking the gubernatorial seat. Fatima Saleh Ladan, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Chairman of the Screening and Congress Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Rivers State, Adoje Omale, said the committee has been thorough in the discharge of their duty. Omale stated this during the screening of the House of Assembly aspirants who made themselves available for the exercise, hours after a protest by some APC members over alleged hijack of the process. The report.
Sporadic shooting during the protest that rocked the All Progressives Congress Secretariat on Woji Road, GRA, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, forcing those around, including journalists covering the incident, to scamper for safety. The protest began when hundreds of APC supporters loyal to the governorship aspirant Senator Magnus Abe besieged the Secretariat alleging hijack of the screening of the State House of Assembly aspirants, as well as selection of ward and state delegates.
Rivers APC will remain stagnant until the National Secretariat and the Presidency decide to do the right thing. No candidate of APC who did not win election,
you can see the police shooting at us.
Incredible process.
River State, we have suffered enough. I am a woman who labored and made my money. I used it last time without any result. Here we are again. Pay our money to APC and making things instead of building River State is to pull down River State.
Meanwhile, the APC screening for House of Assembly aspirants went ahead peacefully alongside wards and local government congresses. According to some of the aspirants who spoke with correspondents on the sideline of the exercise, the committee members conducted it thoroughly.
What I just did now was a thorough screening session with a team that came in from Abuja. To the extent that they had to go through my documents and to ascertain that they were authentic, asked me some questions concerning my knowledge of the party, being a party woman, ensure that I'm a party faithful, that pays her dues as at when due, and all of that.
Very thorough. Really, it exceeded my expectations. I thought it was going to be a matter of mere formalities, but they came here for serious business.
Chairman of the Congress and Screening Committee, Adoje Omale, said his team had to be thorough to refute accusations of favoritism after the protest. Also, Chairman of the APC in the state, Emeka Beke, debunked reports that someone was shot dead during the protest.
We are trying our best to make sure that we do a very thorough job. There will be level playing, as you can see. We are pressmen, you see that the door is open. Even when you came that you wanted to interact with us, the door was open to you. So the whole place is open for anybody, and we are ready to do justice to all, to be fair to all, and to do it the way we have been directed from the national headquarters.
I got intelligence very early in the morning that there were protests from
Senator Magnus Abe's group. And I came in as the chairman of this party to make sure that I protect life and property of the party in our secretariat. But when they came here, a few of them who want to aspire as assembly member came here and said, look, I am not the one conducting the election, I'm not the one doing the screen. Wait for the national to come and address us like that 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Stakeholder, they left. The next thing, they started banging our gates, started throwing stone into the party secretariat, started spoiling our property here. We had to call the police to come and calm the atmosphere. The police came and calmed the atmosphere. There is nobody that was brutally beaten. What happened was they were outside. I was inside. I didn't step out. I was inside the compound. They had to lock me out.
In a statement, the APC governorship aspirant in the state, Senator Abe, described the World Congress as a sham, adding that the new delegates forms released by the National Secretariat through the committee and the state chapter were not given to members perceived as not loyal to the Minister of Transportation.
Lasu Yusuf has raised alarm over a threat to his life and his campaign team. He alleged that some political thugs attacked his convoy in Ilobu town, and also that some hoodlums as well they vandalized his billboard. Speaking with Trust TV's Ahmed Oyegbade at his campaign office, Yusuf lamented that the use of thugs by politicians is dangerous to democracy. Yusuf was a former deputy speaker of House of Representatives, defected to Labour Party from All Progressives Congress, APC.
Blocked my convoy in Ilobu, and they physically threatened my life. And I thought it was a child play. Although I made a report, traditionally to some few elders in the town, because the young man and his colleagues that perpetrated that thing were from Ilobu, and I thought it will subside. But today, when they just woke me up with a call that my campaign office had been attacked, and in fact our billboard destroyed, that is at the point when I now realized that we are probably in for a long call. And so, if you have my life under threat, you have my property under threat, you have my office under threat, then definitely I have to speak out. Because in Nigeria, in the last 20 years, life has been very, very cheap in Nigeria. And I don't want to fall victim of a cheap attack. And so today, the press release is just about my life that is under threat.
A federal high court sitting in Abuja has adjourned till the 20th of October 2022 hearing on the suit filed by the Coalition of Northern Groups, CNG, seeking a referendum to determine the fate of Biafra and other self-determination agitations. Justice Inyang Ekwo, who presided over the matter, granted all motions to allow interested parties to be joined in the suit to enable the country to conduct a referendum. The report.
The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted all joint application filed by the Igbo Nation to join in the suit seeking a referendum for the independent state of Biafra.
You can see the court in its magnanimity granted all the motion for joinder, and we are now properly joined. The Igbo Nation is now properly joined in this matter. My prayers is that there should be they should allow this the citizens of this country, the nationality of this country, to conduct a referendum to determine whether they will continue to remain in this country as one entity, or whether they will go their separate ways.
Certainly, we ought not to oppose the application, because all the parties that are seeking to be joined are almost saying the same thing our client are asking for. What the plaintiff are asking for in the first place is an opportunity for all Nigerians to be given the chance to decide whether they want to stay in Nigeria or not. It's their right. People should be given this opportunity to decide for themselves whether they still want to remain in the Federal Republic of Nigeria or not.
Counsel representing the Ijaw Nation, Temidie Peter Great, who also addressed journalists, noted that it would be joining the suit as defendants.
Upon getting wind of these suits pending in these honorable courts, we, the Ijaw Nation, represented by the Ijaw National Congress, filed an application to join as co-defendants in the suit. Because the Ijaw Nation is not and has never been and can never be part of the Biafran Republic. If there is any republic we should have or are entitled to is the Ijaw Republic and not Biafra Republic. So we need to be joined to assert our territories that have been forcefully incorporated into the Biafran map. Yes, our interests are similar, but we are saying that we are independent of Biafra.
The coalition of northern groups who filed the original suit called on the National Assembly to, as a matter of urgency, conduct a referendum to determine the geographical entity which makes up Nigeria. The case was, however, adjourned till the 20th of October 2022.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, how extension of tenure ignites protests. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Trust News Hour. Our top stories. Houses at Trademore Estate in Abuja pulled down over flood concerns, and resumption of Abuja-Kaduna train service suspended indefinitely. And moving on, police in Katsina on Thursday repelled 2 terrorist attacks at Dabai Bayawa and Antankari villages in Batagarawa and Dutema local government areas of the state. The police also said it neutralized 6 terrorists and recovered 1 AK-47 assault rifle, 110 cows, 242 sheep and goats during the operation. Adla Yamadi has more.
The police authority in Katsina says the operation followed a distress call that terrorists in their hundreds attacked Dantankari village in Dusumwa local government and rustled unspecified number of animals. It also says the area commander Dusumwa led a team of police and vigilante to block the terrorists at Mararabarasaya in Matazu local government.
Similarly, on that same date, being the 17th of May, another distress call was received in the axis of Batagarawa, Dabaibayawa village. It's a farmhouse of one of our retired Inspector General, Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG Lawal Mani. They went to his farm and attacked the security guards in that house and cutted away all the animals.
The police assured that the search teams are combing the nearby bushes to arrest some of the fleeing terrorists.
We succeeded in arresting a member of a notorious syndicate of terrorists, one Tanimu Hashim, 23 years, of Sabangida Quarters, was arrested here in Katsina by a policeman on patrol attached to the office of the area commander Metro. And in the course of investigation, he confessed that actually he belongs to the camp of one notorious leader of terrorists Ado Serki.
Similarly, the police command said it has arrested a member of terrorist syndicate who confessed to have participated in several attacks on communities in Katsina State. I was conscripted into this case. They only asked me to follow them, not knowing they are going to steal something from the telecommunications mast in Mashi town. God knows I'm innocent. In another operation, a syndicate of vandals who specialized in stealing telecommunications cables and coils was busted and arrested in Katsina State. The 4 suspects, who are between the ages of 18 to 25, have confessed to vandalizing telecommunications masts in Mashi local government. Meanwhile, 2 suspected car thieves, Aminu Musa and Kabiru Saidu of Ketere village of Kankara local government area, were also arrested for stealing a Honda Civic with registration number ABC 800 SL.
Can da aka yi toyin su ba su san wurin ba. Kai ka kai mota wurin bakanike. Ko sai bakanike ya ce mai.
I am not a thief. In fact, I have no connection with the stolen car because I was only asked to escort them to Bauchi, which I did. This is all I know. I stole this car in Abuja using a master key. I wanted to sell it and use the money to solve some personal problems. Nemesis caught up with me and I was arrested. The Katsina State Police Command is also investigating Babangida Danjuma, Muhammad Abdurrahman, Nasiru Lawal, Abdullahi B. Muhammad, and one Ibrahim, now at large, who were arrested in possession of vehicle suspected to be stolen. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
More on crime. Ilyasu Muhammad, a resident of Ring Road in Jos North local government area of Plateau State, has explained how a kidnapper killed his colleague when they stormed his house to kidnap his wife. Trust TV News reports that the incident occurred on Monday night when the family of the victim were asleep.
Hassan, who is currently receiving treatment at the Jos University Teaching Hospital after sustaining gunshot injury, told Daily Trust that when the kidnappers forcefully entered his house, they asked for money. But when they were unsuccessful, they decided to go with the victim's wife. However, the victim fought back as the thought of not being able to see his wife again flooded his mind. The victim said he was so angry at the spate of kidnapping in the state and no one was fighting back. He narrated how he wrestled the 2 kidnappers for about 30 minutes. One of the kidnappers shot at the victim where the bullet went through his mouth. As he fired the second shot, it mistakenly hit one of the kidnappers in the stomach area, killing him instantly. Upon seeing that, the other kidnapper fled into the night, leaving the corpse of his colleague.
This incident happened while I was at home with my family. They just barged in with guns in their hands. They asked me for money and I told them I don't have any money. So they made an attempt to attack and go with my wife and kids. For me to watch and allow that to happen, it's better for me to lose my life. So I decided to fight back. We began to drag. One of them shot me on my hands, which also touched my mouth. He wanted to fire at me again. Then I got lucky and dodged the bullet, so it shot one of his brother. That was how we fought and struggled for almost an hour. Tired of fighting, the one with gun ran away. So I got lucky. Some people came and rushed me to the hospital. I am very grateful for those people.
Nafisa Mohammed, the wife of the victim, explained how the incident occurred. She said it is something that she would live to remember. She said what they went through is traumatizing and this insecurity must come to an end. She said her husband is lucky to be alive.
Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal on Friday lifted a curfew imposed on Sokoto Metropolis over the unrest that followed the killing of Deborah Samuel. The governor also banned all forms of procession in the state indefinitely. Samuel, a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, was lynched by a mob over alleged blasphemy. The police arrested 2 suspects in connection with the killing, but a protest demanded their release soon followed. Delta State Commissioner for Information Charles Aniagu's state security operatives are on red alert to ensure the safety of lives and property in the state. That's what he said. The commissioner stated this at a post-exco briefing in the government house, Asaba. He urged the agitators to adopt peaceful measures to press home their demands.
They have done their best. They've shown to the world that Nigeria also can withstand any case. He has been beaten her before. He came down to Abuja as an African person, as a Nigerian. When the parents, if your daughter, giving your daughter out for marriage, when you have issue with the husband, it's left for the parent to settle between the dispute between 2 of them. That's what we did. We tried to settle them. We never knew we were sending our daughter to the death. Put it in my testimony in the court that they have come to Abuja so many times and we have settled them so that she will go back to her husband. We don't want a situation where maybe you are married, later we say you are divorced. You know, we don't want that.
That was a wrong story and we do apologize for that. Now, hundreds of residents of the Abuja Municipal Area Council have shut down the office of Malam Mohammed Bello, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and the FCT Administration Secretariat over the inauguration of the newly elected council chairman and councillors. Chamunda Beng reports. Okay, we'll also bring you that story as soon as it is sorted out. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has secured a court order to detain the embattled Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, for more days. An official of the anti-graft agency who did not want to be quoted told Daily Trust that the legal department of the commission secured the order within 24 hours after Idris was arrested in Kano. Although the detective did not state the court where the order was obtained, he explained that they have been relying on the order to keep him in their custody, pending the conclusion of their investigation. The Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallen, has called on Nigerian youths to embrace the culture of tolerance for the sustenance of peaceful coexistence in the country. The minister made a call on Friday at a one-day youth cultural sensitization program organized by the National Council for Arts and Culture, NCAC, in Abuja. The minister, who expressed concern over loss of cultural values among some youths, identified culture as key to national development, saying that embracing the nation's cultural heritage would go a long way in correcting some societal ills among the youths. Talent decried the rate of violence among youths, stressing the need for them to always tolerate one another to reduce the level of crisis in the society, most especially as the country prepares for the 2023 general elections. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, some youths under the aegis of National Youth Inclusive in Governance Organization, YIGO, have decried decades of political marginalization of young Nigerians. As part of efforts to address the problem, the group held a sensitization campaign during a South-South Zonal Caucus strategic meeting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The report.
Addressing journalists at the meeting in Port Harcourt, convener of the group, Sharif Yusuf Banki, explained that the meeting was to advocate for youth inclusion in the forthcoming elections. Banki observed that youth have been marginalized since the return of democracy in 1999, after 3 decades of military rule. He opined that Nigerian youth can only realize their potential and participate actively in the struggle for social transformation when they are empowered.
Young people must be given the opportunity to contribute to the development of their communities through political participation that grants them access to structures of governance where decisions are taken. That access and opportunity to participate must be provided as a matter of right and not a privilege.
Banky said youth are yet to find a strong foothold in the political system, admitting that the task before them is discouraging and challenging. Some of the participants who spoke with newsmen said the older generation has reduced the vibrant, knowledgeable and innovative portion of the country to special advisors at various levels of government or use the youth to foment trouble during election.
It's all about getting themselves involved, and this is the process. So they must be the participants. There is no time sitting on defense any longer.
You heard the other time that we have lazy youth. Why? So when times come for this people to come out as an active politician, they nickname them lazy youth. A youth that is lazy can fight for you. A youth that are lazy can be able to pick weapons to fight for you. You give them weapons to fight. But when the right time comes for them to stand on their ground as a society, as a pivot, as even a custodian in the society, you discover that they always push them aside. Ooh, what are the reasons? Because they refuse to know who they are in society. But with this clarion call, we are crying all to the youth that they should wake up to their responsibility. Take your stand and do the needful, because we need youth in the government. Enough is enough of all these old men. Let the youth live.
We are intending to participate fully this time by mobilizing the youth in our various areas to go out for their PVC. The era of those period where we went, you see youth running up and down. I am a talks, I am this, to work for them. We want to kill that era. We have been canvassing, calling them to go out for their PVC registration, because we know that 2023 is going to be dynamic. It is those that hold their PVC that can be able to decide who becomes their leader.
The group urged young people to play active roles in determining the political future of the country by engaging political actors with demands for inclusion and equal access to political participation.
Now back to the story on the Abuja Municipal Area Council election. Hundreds of residents of the Abuja Municipal Area Council have shut down the office of Malam Mohammed Bello, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and the FCT Administration Secretariat over the inauguration of the newly elected council chairman and councillors. Chamunda Beng reports.
This is the FCT Secretariat, where a group of protesters have gathered to demand the swearing in of a new AMAC chairman. According to the group, Christopher Zakame Kalangu emerged as winner to the February elections. However, the scheduled swearing in, which was supposed to happen today, has been shelved.
As you all know, on February, chairmanship and councillorship elections were conducted, and winners emerged. And after the winners emerged, there was supposed to be a swearing in today. But we woke up at the eve of yesterday to discover a press statement from the Minister of FCT that the swearing in has been cancelled. And we are here to know why the swearing in was cancelled.
I noticed yesterday that the swearing has been cancelled. On what not? On what account? So we want to know, and the swearing must take place today.
I want to plead to the Honorable Chairman to look into this thing that is happening for peace to reign and hand over to my Kalangu and swear him in, so that if there is any case, if they like, they should continue. But today we want the swearing in for peace to, to reign. Thank you.
It is unfair. 2016, we did not fight, we did not argue with anybody. We did not go to court. We hand over the thing for them peacefully. Sometimes he came back for the second time. 2019, we gave him to him with no fight, nothing. Why is it our turn? You are now creating a law that is not even in the Constitution. What crime has the indigenous person committed in the FCT that you cannot give us our rights? Let it be given to us. It is our right. And I bet you all, the minister, FCT, as it is now, I, Comrade Yakubu Shekolo, I have mobilized roughly 500 of persons with disability If nothing is being done, I bet you that there will not be movement on Monday for the whole town of Abuja. We are going to block the highway.
The group of protesters are visibly enraged by the turn of events and are determined to get answers. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back after the break.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to them continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the one they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempts were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There is a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
Welcome back, and let's take some business-related stories. In order to reduce the burden of debts and garner more funds, the federal government has been advised to dispose of some abandoned properties littered across the country. The president of the Kwara State Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Kwasima, Olalekan Ayodimeji, gave the advice while addressing journalists in Ilorin. The Kwasima president said that rather than borrowing every time, the government should sell those properties by creating a national register to know which assets can be disposed of to earn income.
To go and every time go and borrow. If you have an asset register, you can look at through them and say, okay, this one is no longer useful to us as a nation. This one we can afford to do with it. This one we can do that. This one we can do. How much can we realize now? 300 million, 200 billion. Then why not let us dispose them and realize this money instead of going every time to go and borrow?
Okay. Nigeria's most recent inflation figures shows that inflation rose to 16.82% in April 2022. This is 0.9 percentage points higher than the 15.92% recorded in the previous month, according to the recently released Consumer Price Index released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The core inflation rate rose to 14.18%. Chamun Dabeng speaks to financial consultant Dr. Hussaini Muhammad on the matter.
The core index was attributed to the increase in the prices of gas, liquid fuel, and articles of clothing. As the rest of the world grapples with inflation, is Nigeria's above the average?
Well, inflation is something that is never static all over the world. And every country goes through one stage or the other. It is only when it becomes abnormal, that is increasing at hyper, that there is a cause of concern. As a matter of fact, in other countries, government induces a little bit of inflation, say maybe 1% to 2%. That is considered normal.
As the country prepares for 2023, how much has the money...
On the foreign scene, 2 parents and their child died in western France after a powerful wave swept them out to sea as they were fishing on a dike in Brittany, authorities said on Friday. The 55-year-old father and 33-year-old mother were pulled out of the water early Thursday evening in the western town of Plogoff with cardiac arrest, but rescuers were unable to resuscitate them. The body of the 12-year-old child was found later. 3 other children of the family, aged 13 to 15, were not on the dike and survived the wave, but were in shock and are being treated by psychological services. The weather conditions were not stormy, a spokesperson for maritime officials said. Witnesses immediately called rescuers who dispatched paramedics and 3 helicopters to search for the victims who lived in the nearby town of Alden. Let's now join Adeni Ajishafe for Sports Update.
International Federation of Association Football, FIFA says female referees will officiate at 2022 Qatar World Cup for the first time in 92-year history of the most popular competition around the world. FIFA announced 3 female referees and 3 female assistant referees to be part of 129 officials selected for Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup 64 games. Stephanie Frappart of France, Salima Mokasanga of Rwanda, and Yoshimi Yamashita of Japan will have the chance of officiating during the 2022 tournament in Qatar. Frappart was in charge of 2019 Super Cup game between Chelsea and Liverpool, and also at World Cup qualifying match, where she officiated top matches across Europe. Yoshimi Yamashita of Japan officiated at 2022 Summer Olympics match between United States of America and Sweden, while Rwanda Salima Mukasanga officiated in Zimbabwe versus Guinea at AFCON 2022. 69 assistant referees, including Nelza Bach of Brazil, Karen Diaz Medina of Mexico, and Catherine Nesbitt of USA will participate. Female referees are officiated in the UEFA Champions League, Euros, and AFCON, not at FIFA World Cup, a development that is an attempt to expand the role women play in football. And still on football, Nigeria edged host Ethiopia in Addis Ababa on Friday in the final round first leg play at Abebe Bekila Stadium, with forward Okpeyemi Ajakaye scoring in the 36th minute with a pass from midfielder Taiwo Afolabi. Ajakaye has scored in each of Flamingo's 5 matches of the qualifying series, a brace against the Democratic Republic of Congo in a 5-0 thriller in Benin City. Both teams will clash again at MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, on Saturday, 4th June, with the winner on aggregate qualifying as one of Africa's 2 representatives at this year's FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup Finals in India. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Diron Onefade. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.